Hola, konnichiwa, what to do? Welcome back to Agitator, the only freestyle storytelling podcast starring two mystic Juggalo weebs, not directly affiliated with the actual Juggalo clan, just the YouTube friendly word for whatever else you could say there.
You know what the word is.
You
I've
had a
been uh I've been finding it harder and harder to understand people who are not trying to make as much money as possible. It's like they're speaking a different language to me when I talk to people who say things like I'm comfortable in my job and I don't know, I just kind of like it, or oh, I have enough. It's cool. I just don't understand that anymore. But I think it's because my realization that I was telling you recently that the key to success as a self-published writer is directly tied into how much money you have. If you listen to the podcast where they talk to self-published success stories, I listen to it very keenly, waiting for the point where we talk about what's the Wikipedia section, early years, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I listen for the early years segment. I'm waiting for it, and then they'll go. And so then I quit my 250K a year job as a finance broker. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, there we go. There it is. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's it. You gotta have money. And a lot
yep.
of people hear that and they turn it into some dumb class thing because they're single and they don't have kids and they're like, oh, well, the system. And it's like, I got kids, bro. I got two.
Yeah.
A bunch of bullshit happened around 2020 that made me realize that I need to build up a defense system. I
Yeah.
need to have like just a fuckload of money to where nobody can
Yeah.
tell me or my family shit. I'll be
Yeah.
unaffected.
Yeah. It's not fair to the kid for me to live a bohemian lifestyle due to my ideological principles. And the thing is, too, man, once you start to see the matrix code behind this money shit, it's just all you got to do is be smart. Seriously, I was not thinking about money for my entire adult life, my younger life too. I just never thought about it. But when you think about the lifestyle of a person like me who, before I was married, before I had kids, and I would just watch movies and play video games all day, and I was happy in that consumer role. Jay Springett says you can be a consumer or a producer.
Hmm.
And the thing is that consumers spend money to enjoy art. Producers have to invest money to produce that art. And so
Yeah.
your mindset has to shift. So I still had I still had consumer mindset while trying to be a producer. And I think that tension is maybe where a lot of our fellow 30 something year old writers, artists, musicians find themselves in. Like they're still a consumer, but they want to produce. But you have to shift the whole fucking thing.
That's why the most pure version of that is just people who stream video games. It's like
Right.
because they're doing both. There's that
Mm-hmm.
desire, I guess, with along with I don't know if it existed before social media. I've always been a producer, so I wouldn't know. But you know how everybody wants to be a producer, but not really. It's like like we need consumers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's cool. Be upset, be a book whore, be a movie fanatic. Sit your ass at home and buy my shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Oh,
but no,
of course,
I'm a
it can't
producer.
exist. It can't exist without it because you have to have, and I think that this is one of the things that the internet has made more difficult because it's created the illusion that the barrier to entry to being a producer is a lot lower than it used to be. It's really not. It's just different. I mean, it tricked me for the longest time. I thought, oh, cool. So I can do blogs and Facebook posts. You would just read this shit over and over again. Self help. type shit where they would say, if you just write every day. Meanwhile, the motherfucker whose blog you're reading that has 80,000, fans or whatever, you don't think they're putting some money into that getting discovered? Like, no, but the piece of advice that they don't tell you is always going to be the key. That's always going to be the key. And the piece of advice they often don't talk about is how much money you have to invest. When they do talk about money, they talk about it in terms of their royalties or their advance, or let's break down what I made this year as a writer. But they don't want to tell you because it seems, I feel like to some people it might hurt their ego a little bit.
How
Like, oh,
much money they had to spend on
I had to
themselves.
pay for people to see my shit. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just
It's that's what any business does.
exactly. You think a painting business
Dude,
is
should
gonna
we? I think people need us like the Zoomers and shit. Or I don't even know if Zoomers have a problem with it. Probably our fellow millennials who pretend to be
Mhm,
communist. We
mhm.
just need to invent a cooler word for capitalism.
What's the
Um,
cooler word for capitalism?
I don't know, but they just have a problem with the word. It's the best system out there, and it's what we have to work with. So I'm going hyper capitalist. I'm just I'm cool with I'm
Right,
hacking the system. I'm a
right.
cyberpunk capitalist.
And when we end up on the other side of it, it always sucks. It's like a game. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Well, take any board game. If you're playing checkers with somebody and you beat them, you go, "Oh shit, I'm the best. I'm the checker wizard. Eat my ass, I win." Then if
That's
they
what I
beat
say every
you,
time.
if they beat you at checkers, you're like, "What?" You're like, "This game fucking sucks. Fuck this shit.
Right,
I
right.
hate this fucking shit. Fuck this game." By the way, it's never that you're a bad checkers player. You're like, "Fuck this system, man. Fuck these fucking checkers."
It's also never, well, you win some, you lose some. That's
Yeah.
that'd be great though. That would be great. Have two, so yeah, like two capitalist players would be like the loser would just be like, ah, chalk it up to the game.
Yep. You want to play again?
Hmm.
And then the communist one is like, we need to restructure checkers in general so that everybody wins checkers every time.
Checkers is
Uh,
the clearest analogy too, because that
yeah.
game is like you win or you lose. There's this,
Mhm.
you make the same exact moves, and one person wins and one person loses.
And one person loses. Yeah. And so I don't know, having been on the ass
What
end
did I
of,
tell you
of
about coming out
capitalism.
of your cave? I'm kidding. Come here. Come here.
Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Hey, Rowan.
Say hi.
Hey, buddy. But that's, yeah. I mean, I just think, I don't know. For me, it's not even a debate because it's like a fish swimming in water. I don't even see the water anymore. I'm just like, oh, okay. So this is what I'm gonna do to make money. By the way, it's not art. I'll give you that little hint right now. Um, there are other things that people can do to make money, but then you get to have this other side of yourself that's a bit more pure because you've afforded yourself the luxury of writing what you want to write, which is going to be the shit that pops off anyway. If you got
Hmm.
money on your mind when you're writing shit, dude, it's going to be twisted in some way.
Well, and that's beautiful too in the way that this collective works and like us, because I already see it. We called it that different people were gonna go in like these different directions.
Mhm.
And it's already happening. So you've got like extracurricular type shit that'll be making money to invest in your shit. I've got art shit that'll actually be making money, but to go back into the art shit, because that's another thing is a lot of people they get like they're like, well, I got this nice advance, and it's like, okay, did you spend any of it on promo? It's like, nah, publisher should do that. All right, bro. Good luck.
No, someone broke it down. I'm trying to remember. I want to say again that this was Jay that posted this, but somebody was really or maybe I stumbled on this by myself, doesn't matter. But someone was really realistic about it. And they say the amount of money that a publisher is going to spend on your promo is directly relational to how big of an advance they gave you. So if they gave you under 100K for your advance, you're kind of on your own
Yeah, because they want to make
because,
it back.
well, here's the thing. They're going to spend promotional budget on the people who they spend $2 million on. They're going to have a marketing budget for that because they want to get that money back,
Mm-hmm.
right? With somebody who's got a bit of a lower, like let's say they do 50K, and what they're saying is, we think that you, not us, you can sell over $50,000 worth of copies. We think that you can go out and hustle and make us back our money,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll give you 50 up front.
And somebody
And
like me, I can.
yeah,
Easy,
yeah,
easy. And I'll
yeah.
hustle it myself. And I'm starting to feel like I'm the only person in the world who will actually do that because I keep watching people get these little advances and shit and just bitch and then just disappear. And I've
Yeah.
seen it over year after
Mm-hmm,
year. It's like, what happened to so and so? Oh, he was bitching about his advance and how his publisher
mm-hmm.
didn't do shit. And now he's, I think, mad about writing or something.
Yeah,
Like,
publishers have one clear advantage, which is access to distribution networks. Um, but in terms of marketing, I mean, you kind of have to do it anyway. That's why I go in the way that I'm going, because I have such a huge amount of faith in our product that I think it's just a matter of putting it in front of people. I mean, books are a relatively tough sell, but not really. Not as hard as I
not,
think some people make it out to be.
you just have to have something that people want to read.
AWP dispelled that myth for me, by the way. And I know that those are readers that are at that convention, so it's harder than trying to sell to the general public. But how quick people were snapping those books up just after we had the opportunity to tell them what the book actually was.
All we need is, or like all I need specifically, what I would do is I would have a launch party, and this would only cost me like $5,000 for the venue space and to get then because I have homies who would want to do it. Um, I'd probably cut a deal of like ticket prices or something where I'm there for promo and I'm like, hey, y'all can come make some money. Like I got the venue. Uh, but I'd throw on a rap show that
It's a
I
good one.
would do some kind of performance at.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. I might just rap and be like, I have a book. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not on Spotify. I'm on. My books are on the table,
Yeah. You can go buy those
and
instead.
people would be hyped because they'd be like, "Holy shit! This writer threw on a rap show in Lake Jackson, and he's from here, and he wrote a book, and it's on whatever the fuck it's on, some big. But
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy."
Mm-hmm.
And then I sell a
Yeah.
million copies in Texas alone.
Yeah. I think that um, whenever you talk about capitalism, the argument, it's always people talking about different things. And specifically when they're talking about different things, they're jumping around from the macro to the very small. They'll bring up healthcare or something, and everybody knows that people who work in healthcare know that healthcare is fucked. But
Everybody in the world agrees about what to do with healthcare. Like that has nothing to
everybody
do
agrees.
with. I ain't in healthcare. That has nothing to do with anything.
No, no. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. It's just a bunch of jumping around, and I really don't think that you can argue, no matter what your ideology is. You can't help but take a kind of stoic approach to the whole thing and say, well, no matter what, I could think that everybody should just share every day, which I
I do
know
not think that at
communism's
all.
a bit more complicated than that, but like,
You know,
let's say
hardcore
somebody,
communists refuse to watch United Red Army. Every time I'm like, you seen that movie? They're like, yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Like, because you know it would convert your ass. You know it
hmm
would show how stupid it is to be a communist.
yeah, that was definitely agitator's conversion moment. Mm,
I mean, I was never a commie, but
me
I
neither,
I
but
ain't into sharing. People who really start from the bottom are not cool with sharing. Otherwise, I'd
mm,
have let all those people break into my house who tried constantly all the time.
hmm Mhm.
I've just been like, oh yeah, come in. This is a communist household. What's mine is yours.
But if you were, right, or somebody, we'll invent a person. The best way to advance your goal is to succeed through this system first and then put money towards I don't know, buying friends. I don't really know what they do. I'm not really sure what the whole thing is. Shout out to them. Um I feel like most people outgrow communism. Or what do you think? Like around like 22? Are there any communists that are older than 22 who don't make
Well,
a living as an academic pretending to be a communist?
millennials are stunted. So there's a lot of 38-year-olds who I guess would be spiritually, mentally 22. So
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I just don't see it very much. But that's another, I mean, that's another great point too, is that I like at this point in my life, I'm just I'm removed from the book scene. I have no idea what's going on over there. Although somebody did tell me about something recently that I thought was funny. I'll talk about that in a second. Um,
I'm also
I'm
looking forward to because people constantly forget that I'm not an academic and I do not
mhm.
have college shit and I'm borderline illiterate, which is a big flex that I'm the best writer and I'm retarded. Uh I'm just I'm so hyped for how many of them are going to be like, what you're talking about, bro, is basically communist.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't know. I just like I said, I just don't see it. I don't really I've successfully rewired my brain so that I can look at things on the internet. And if it's something that I don't agree with, I just kind of go, huh. And then if it's something that I do agree with, I write it down. And that's really all it is. I mean, the internet is this enormous idea machine that you can use for good or evil. And if you're just going into it thinking like, something sounds interesting, maybe I'll hang on to that. But really quickly, it is funny because somebody hit me up on a text recently, uh, and I feel like they were kind of low key asking like, do you know anything about this dude? Like, was this you? Uh, and I'll explain why it wasn't me clearly very soon. But I don't know what the dude's deal is. Honestly, I've seen the collection of tweets that he's got, and they seem really disconnected. I'm not really sure what the agenda is, but somebody went out and found a bunch of old tweets that nice guy writers, I guess, had written what, 10, 15 years ago?
Some of them.
Uh,
Some of them were like
where
22, some of them were like
some of them were a little bit
2010.
closer. Yeah, some of them were a little bit closer. Now,
All of
here's the
them
thing.
just whatever, full
Yeah, whatever.
disclosure.
They're whatever.
Just
They're whatever tweets.
we
So
say
that's my
worse on this show.
yeah. That's my first point. Is that number one? If I ever come after somebody for which I'm not really going to do anymore because I got bigger fish to fry. I got things I'm working on. But if I did, I would do it on the show. And you could pay $5 a month, like a lot of you do, to hear me say those things. Or I would tweet at the person directly, which I've also done, because I'm not uh, the anonymous thing. No, what I say is what I mean. The second thing is that I don't believe in canceling people for anything. I'm
No.
morally opposed to the like I don't people who I don't like, I'm still against them being canceled
It's
because
weird that being such a writer world thing and a film world.
yeah.
You don't ever see that in the rap world. Rap world, people are allowed to have beef.
Mhm.
And that's like I want to see more of it.
Yeah.
Like I
I
got
don't
bigger fish to fry too, and it's not really what takes up my interest, but I would love to see a part of the culture become people just being honest. Like, I don't fuck with this person. You're a
right.
garbage ass writer. And
Like
just
we've
saying
been
it with the
doing
chat. Yeah.
like we've been
Yeah.
doing for the past 3 years on the show.
And
Like
it's like,
that's what we do.
bro, how is that hurting anybody? I can have an opinion just because I do the same thing you do.
Mhm.
Like, if I'm gonna hurt your sales somehow, or if I'm gonna rob you of your deal. It's like
No.
the fuck? No,
No.
I'm allowed to think you suck because you suck.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's allowed to think that certain writers suck. That's totally fine. What I've
And if y'all
always,
take any money from this one, I'm not talking shit about you on the show. I'm coming to your fucking house.
oh
So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's where we would draw a line for sure. I'm with you in that boat. But I just don't. I think that I just think that it's too hive mindy, and I've been on the other side of it, by the way. So I've been on the side of the person who's being attacked by a bunch of people all at once, people jumping in who don't even have to jump in, and it's just not a pleasant experience. And I wouldn't and haven't, I will say as well, ever in my entire internet career ever done that to anybody. And I won't start doing it now. I'll say it to you. I'll say it to your face. So, yeah, that person out there, I, I don't really have a commentary on what they're doing, but I will say a lot of those tweets, a lot of those tweets that this guy sourced, where they're dropping slurs and you know uh, all your favorite writers are turning out to be human beings in 2010. It made a lot of these writers who I don't like a whole lot cooler. So it kind of had the reverse effect.
the beef squashed. You know what?
Yeah,
I
beef
might
squashed.
I might have to
Actually,
check
actually, they're
out
cool.
what's that new one? All my tears are blood or something.
Yeah,
Might
some dumb shit like that. But yeah, I was like, wait, is he actually
might be good.
cool? Hang on a second. I've somewhere I've gone terribly wrong because I didn't realize these people were cool. So sort of had the opposite intended effect. But yeah, no, I think we're past all this, guys. Like, stop canceling each other. Are we really doing this thing where you're like, look at what so and so said, so and so writer said, stop it. Stop. We all had Twitter in 2010 and we all had problems with alcohol. Okay. And if you type something that you this is the James Gunn problem. I thought this was solved like what was it, 8 years ago that they canceled him and now he's back directing what, Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. Like we've been
Yeah,
through this.
Superman or something.
Superman. Hmm. Anyway, that's my final word on that. You guys can cut all that shit out because nobody cares. This is the other thing about big brain book sales mindset. There's a lot of people in this world. There's a lot of people in this country,
Hmm.
dude.
The majority of
And
people don't know, don't care. That's the majority. That's like 88% of people don't know, don't care about your online
nope,
persona, about your reputation. They're like, I don't give a fuck. What
don't
does that
care.
have anything to do with your book?
It would be like if I found out that the guy who made Cyberpunk or like Hideo Kojima, right? It's like, did you know that he's homophobic? Let's say that was true. I'd
Like,
be
I
like,
assumed because he's
I assume
Japanese,
I
but
assume that, I guess.
because I'm
Or,
racist, I assumed he was homophobic.
well, just with anybody who you're not in that world and you're not in little cliques, you suddenly realize how little you actually care about any of that stuff. And you realize other people don't care either. Like most people just see the book and they're like, I don't know, that looks cool. And here's the trick, those people don't want to be my friend, which is awesome. Let's not be friends.
Hmm.
Let's have an understanding here that I made something, you like it, you purchased it, you talked about it. For that, you're cool in my book, but we're not buddies, right? The same way that I don't want Kojima to be like my best friend. I don't want Takashi Miike to be my best friend. I just want to consume the things that they make and enjoy them. I
Who
don't need to talk.
being best friends with Kojima would be exhausting. It'd be fun, but
Yeah. Yeah, it really
I'd
would
be
be.
like, dog, I got some of my own shit to focus
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
What's up? You trying to make a feature appearance? Okay, go get the milk out of the fridge.
That boy loves being on camera. He
Yeah,
loves being on
yeah.
camera.
Well, I'm trying to put him in the TV show.
Hmm.
Wrote a role just for him. Mainly because I don't know where else I'm gonna hire a kid. I ain't dealing with taking care of somebody else's kid.
Mhm.
Can you reach?
So there was a new Takashi Miike short film that dropped yesterday. Thank you, by the way, to Miike-san for listening to us when we asked him to drop it the day before an agitator show because it gave us some content to talk about. It's called Midnight. It's based on a manga written by Osamu Tezuka, one of the OG, if not the OG manga writers slash artists of all time. It's a really simple concept. It is, let's see, how long is it? About 20 minutes. And it's about a taxi driver named Midnight, which is also the title. Actually, the title of the movie is, let's see here, shot on iPhone 15
That's the
Pro,
title of the movie.
Midnight, Apple. So kind of a weird title, if you ask me. But yeah, so you got this cab driver
Oh
who's got
Jesus,
a,
there's milk fell all over the floor.
you're good, dude. I got it. Um, so it follows this cab driver named Midnight who we only have 20 minutes. So there's a lot of shit that Miike packs into this in a short runtime. The cab driver can see the future. He's got a goofy costume and he's got a car that is just tricked out with all sorts of traps and a kind of center wheel on a that kind of can lift the car up and twist the car around and leads to some very interesting car chases. But what I liked about it is I really love the color palette and I love it when Miike goes back to those early 2000s sort of grimy feeling shows because if you've watched Dead or Alive or Itchy the Killer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a look, it's a feel. This one starts off with shaky cam, blurry shots of what looks like Shinjuku. Might be wrong, but I'm assuming that's what it is. Um, and those kind of vivid baby puke greens and deep neon purples and all that kind of shit just really gave Itchy the Killer vibes. But like the rock music brought me back to
Oh,
Dead or
bro,
Alive.
the music was
Uh,
so good.
the music was tight. It was pretty heavy. Um, but
Zoom in all
yes,
shaky cam on the little stuffed and the hand puppet, and it's like,
yeah. So the bad guy has a puppet that shoots lasers out of its nose. The funniest part of it is when Midnight kicks the puppet off the dude's hand and then stomps on it and it farts. And then there's a wide shot of him kicking it and it just looks like him like from the hyper stylized shit to go to a shot of just a dude in a goofy costume kicking a puppet, going like, yeah. I was rolling, dude. That shit was hilarious.
And then the best part is dude goes, brother.
Brother.
And they're like, what? The fuck? You
and
broke
then
his ribs.
And then you see that the puppet actually does have some kind of life to it. It can, it's actually sentient and it has a very funny death scene when the motorcycle it's riding gets into a crash. Um, but yeah, there's a girl in it whose dad has a party bus. Shout out to the OG
Takashi
Miike
Miike. Yeah.
showing up as the party bus driver dad.
Are those a
He
new
gets
thing? Because I feel like I just recently saw these party buses in Japan, and I feel like I don't know if it's either in the zeitgeist or if like it's a new thing. And Miike was like, I will make a movie.
I think so. It must be something that's in the zeitgeist because I've never seen one in a Japanese movie before, but they look amazing. These buses are absolutely incredible. They're just decked out with thousands of LEDs and paintings, and it just looks like something that like the Shredder would drive, but if the
Yeah.
Shredder was gay, right? Like gay
Yeah.
Shredder.
If the yeah, Miike character gay shredder.
Yeah, Mige character gay Shredder would drive these things. So I guess the plot, such as it is that this girl's dad like wouldn't give up territory to other party bus people.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
is that what was
They
going
wanted
on
control of his turf. Like
of his turf? And
we
so
don't
they
ever
killed
see
him.
them driving party buses. So it's like,
No,
what do they want to do with his turf?
they
Like
they are a nameless
it's like killing
villain
the ice
presence.
cream man and being
It,
like, they wanted control of the turf. It's like, did they have an ice cream truck? Why'd they kill the ice cream
Why
guy?
did they do that? Although having delivered ice cream in Portland, they do have turf and they do get
Oh
mad when
yeah,
you go
no,
on
I
their
could
turf.
understand that.
Um, but so yeah, the action is great. Nice bone crunching sound effects when they're punching and kicking. It's all very well choreographed, but the real juice is the car chase at the end, where motorcycles are pursuing midnight through a
Oh my
busy street.
God. Yeah.
Talk
A-
about it.
And I was just like, how are they doing this? Because they've got like, are they flying the phone on a drone? Is this a bungee cord thing? Is this a
Uh-huh.
like what is happening? Because it's so fluid. It's like it's like more fluid than Akira shit. The way that you go through, it's like you're flying right over
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
the chases. You're following the. I love that kind of shit. It's not necessarily anything new, but I just love that shit when you're moving with the
Hmm.
vehicles
Hmm.
instead of
hmm
just like a cut of them driving from this way and then an angle of them coming around the corner. You're actually
hmm
following the driving all the way down the road.
I
Um,
agree.
that shit was great. And then that's where we get the motorcycle crash with the jiggly eyes and the helmet and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. They cut to the bad like a close up of the bad guy realizing that he's about to die, and it's like his eyeballs look all Total Recall and shit, and they're just like jiggling around. It's so fucking funny. It's
I
just fun.
really loved the beginning too. I didn't realize it was going to I mean I quickly realized because it's only a 20-minute movie, but in
Yeah.
the first couple of minutes, I didn't realize we were gonna get a very encapsulated Mike story basically. It's like first love, that type of Mike that, he's not kitchen sink, but he's like, a tight, pulpy, um, bit convoluted. You get some kitchen sink type shit, but it's not like Dead or Alive. It's not, Itchy the Killer. Uh, but just a tight, pulpy Mike ride
Hmm.
condensed
Hmm.
into 20 minutes. But the first couple minutes, I thought it was going to be a little bit more experimental, and I was with it with that. Even the first
Hmm.
where you're just like getting this narration of this night driver. uh you get the sense he's a taxi off the go. You got like, there's that cut to the taxi sign, and
Hmm.
so you're like,
Hmm.
okay, this, sort of taxi driver situation. But I didn't. I got the sense that, especially because it's like shot on iPhone, so I was like, okay, is this like an excuse to be like, hey, we just did this little thing? It's like, no,
Right.
it's like, Jesus Christ, what did y'all spend $10 million on making an iPhone movie, a 20-minute iPhone movie?
Probably, I mean, probably like a half a million. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, it looks expensive, which brings me to my criticism of the movie, which has nothing to do with Miike-san. The OG showed up, did his thing. It felt really good. But, you know, I want to see a shot on iPhone movie that's just actually shot on an iPhone, not with a different lens, not with different, you know, maybe, okay, maybe sound. Um, and you can add special effects to it and stuff. But I think that the gloss, even though it looked great, and I loved watching it as per my earlier note, I think it would be cool to just show people what they could do with a
Well, and I'm
phone.
sure, coming from the business perspective and the things that I'm doing in film, trying to get, I'm sure that whole like, because I've thought of exactly this type of pitch of doing something like this, of being like shot on an iPhone, blah blah blah, and
Mhm.
then that functions as a commercial that also functions as a pitch. Like, hey, iPhone, give me a bunch of
Mhm.
money to make a movie because look what I did in 20 minutes with your shit.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or they could have paid him to make something, and that's
Well, they
how
100%
the
paid for
movie
this.
was made, I'm
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah. 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 They definitely did that. But I see what you mean too. From a money standpoint, it makes sense. but it would be cool to see those constraints. When you think of an iPhone movie, you think, okay, what constraints is the filmmaker working with, and how do they work around those constraints? Kind of like Tangerine. I feel like
It
Tangerine did
always,
it well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They also shot on iPhone. It
Hmm.
always makes for a better movie. Constraint,
Yeah.
just better art in general. Constraints, like that's where a lot of the juice comes from, and the times that we've cranked out 3-day novels is
Hmm.
like that constraint is where you get a lot of that energy. Um,
Right. Right.
the I mean, for example, like I do think bigger in terms of like my goals. I don't even call them daydreams because it's like the steps that I'm gonna take. But like when I hit a $10 million year, right? Uh, you would think, oh, so now you're gonna make a $5 million movie? It's like, no, I'm gonna make like a 200K movie
Hmm.
because constraint is how you get style.
Yeah.
And if I do take out of 10 mil, if I put 1 mil into making another movie, that movie is gonna have a lot of cool cars in it
Yep.
or a lot of practical effects or like a crazy location that I wouldn't be that it's like, oh, he spent the money on this location for sure.
Miike's the character. Miike's the hero.
Yeah, I flew Takashi Miike in to be this dude.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or I got the licensing for all the music I wanted in it.
Oh, licensing on music would be huge. Yeah,
Yeah,
licensing
because
on music would be huge.
that's a lot. They're gonna be like,
Yeah,
"How'd you
that's it
spend 1 million where's like, on the soundtrack?" It was nine hundred
on the
thousand dollars
soundtrack.
on the soundtrack.
Yeah, pretty much. With the iPhone movie, though, and on the topic of constraints, I do feel like that concept is dulled a little bit by all the other technology that's used to make it. Now, hear what I'm saying, listeners. I'm happy that Midnight exists. I think it's awesome. But what I'm saying that I would like to see would be one that didn't have all that.
Yeah,
Didn't have the extra lens, didn't have the special effects
I was a
budget, didn't
little
have the cartridge
disappointed by
budget.
the Mach 5 shit
Hmm.
and the yeah, because I was like all the because you could have done camera trick type shit with that, like lean into we're shooting this on a phone
Hmm.
and all of what is produced has to be shot on the phone.
Right.
That'd have been my like I'd have been more interested in that. It actually took me out
Yeah.
because it's like shot on iPhone 15, shot on iPhone 15. Like it's in the description, it's in the title on YouTube, it's in the opening
Hmm.
credits, shot on iPhone 15. It's like, okay, well, now when you have these CGI scenes, I'm going, bro, that wasn't shot on the iPhone. Like
Right. Yeah, that
it
was
was
done in well,
shot,
it's like
but
a better example of this, right? Would be Visitor Q, which was shot on digital for $5,000 and looks like it, but there's a lot of shit going on in that movie
mm,
that they make work by making it the most one of the most disgusting movies ever made for five
mm-hmm,
grand, which is crazy. He called in favors. He got his digital camcorder, whatever 2001's top of the line digital camera was, and he just made the movie. He made the movie, paid everybody $500, got some locations probably for free. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around $5,000 doing anything. I guess this was also almost 25 years ago,
so yeah,
but
that's the
like,
equivalent of having like 50,000 today.
right,
So
right.
honestly, I can easily see it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. What is that worth today? Hold on. This is a fascination of mine. Hold on. $5,000. What year was that? That was 2001, right?
uh yeah, yeah.
And I guess you'd have to also convert for yen, but let's not make
That's also
overcomplicate this.
that's also crazy because oh one, he does Visitor Q and Itchy the Killer.
Yeah. Well, actually not that. So it is more. It's almost $9,000. So he basically made Visitor Q for almost $9,000. But that makes sense.
That makes
You can
sense.
see you see $9,000 on the screen.
Hmm.
This, um, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to say that the iPhone is powerful, that the iPhone has the power of one of these really good cameras to, I don't know, shoot raw footage the same way that a digital camera can. In that case, point taken. But I think a lot of people are going to look at that and feel, I don't know, like it's out of their reach. And that's the appeal of doing things with constraints also, is that it kind of gives the heads who watch it a sense that they could do it too. Oh,
And
I
you
could make
want
this
them
shit.
to. You want them to. That's how you
Yes.
revitalize culture. That's my
Yes.
ultimate goal is
Right.
I want to like inspire, help. Like I want to be at a place where I can like tell people how to do shit and
Yeah.
show them, tell them without having to tell them. Do exactly that. It's like when you see an agitator films joint, you're gonna go, holy shit, I could make that. And yes, I
Yep.
want you to, because I want life back in the culture. Like I want American culture to exist. I want art to be a big thing in this country. I want like a
Hmm.
totally new renaissance. I want our own renaissance. And that's how you get that. You have people going, "Oh, I want to do something like that." And now I
Yeah.
get the sense that I could. It's like,
Yeah.
"Yes, go do
Yeah.
it."
Yeah. And instead, what you have is when every movie, this is an effect of these really expensive, shitty movies that they don't talk about very much, is that one of the effects of that is that it has the opposite result with people. Like people start to think that a movie has to cost $200 million to make.
Can you
And
imagine?
they are
What the
expensive. I mean, movies in general are expensive. I'm beginning to understand that more and more. So I'm
Oh yeah,
revising
because
my
I'm putting
like,
actual. Yeah, I take
yeah,
back everything we said because you
yeah,
can make a movie for $0. I mean, we did.
right,
We
sure.
made a couple of little 3 minute, 5 minute things, that are in post. Patreon.com/agitator. Those will be up soon within the month. Um, but it's it's like how I mean, how much can you do for that though?
Right.
Because
Right. You
there are
need for like
things I
a
want to
modest
do.
movie. Of course, yeah, for a modest movie that you would want to do, say 20K
Hmm.
for like an hour. I
That's
could
what
make
I'm trying to
20K
get.
work.
That's what I'm trying to get for the county pilot. So
Hmm.
anybody out there wanting to invest and you want, I mean, we can talk. I'm open to a
Hmm.
lot. Executive producer role, 10% stake in the series. I mean, we can talk. I want 20K. I can make a pilot and I don't have to change the script. Like
Hmm.
with that much, I can do what I want.
Hmm. Yeah, because you could hire a really good director of photography. You could hire a really good sound guy, and then you're halfway there because you get Luis to be in it. You can get a bunch of different people who are really good fucking actors to do it for,
A
you
percentage.
know, a Billy Sims sandwich is what I was gonna say, but yeah, a percentage, sure, a percentage of a Billy Sims sandwich,
I want
like
people to
a
get
quarter.
paid because of the time. So my opinions on paying people for art also changed when the times changed a lot these past couple of years. It's like, no, I want you to actually show up. I want a good performance from you. I want commitment and I know what going one day without making anything looks like in 2024. So I do want you to I want you to eat. Um, but I don't need $1 million. No. Like,
It'd be sick to have $1 million though.
oh yeah, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
And I want all the homies to make it,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna try to come up with that on ground zero.
You're not gonna
It's
black
like
mafia family it, start
not
selling crack.
well, that
To
doesn't
to me,
have the same uh I've tried a lot of things in the
mhm,
past year.
mhm. I think Black Mafia Family is a perfect example, by the way, of just you just need money
Hmm.
to get it done. If you look at rappers, this is so true because if you want to have a shot as a rapper, it's not a sure thing because if you're trash, you're trash. That, of course, is the bottom line with any artistic medium.
That's the yeah, yeah.
But if you're that Mexican OT and you can afford a Paul Wall feature, it's going to launch you to the next level.
And he keeps
But you have to
spending
be able to
money.
afford it.
You haven't seen, like, he knows he's still on the launch pad,
Right.
and shouts out him. I think already within, because I thought Lone Star Luchador was fire, but already with Texas Technician, I'm like, he's not quite there yet. But and this is him as a, I mean, he's the first big Zoomer rapper,
Mm-hmm.
and he came from Bay City, right down the road. So shouts out Texas. But he's already bringing the album back, and I think he just kind of has that intrinsically in him because he's more influenced by old head H-Town
Mm-hmm.
legends than he is by like uh whoever the fuck, Playboy Cardi or whatever. um
Mm-hmm.
so he already has like those albums in his head. But yeah, no, I'm hyped to have the album come back. Fuck all this
Mm-hmm.
single bullshit. Fuck all this playlist bullshit. Y'all learn how to make a goddamn album.
Yeah. It's a little bit harder. You have to do a little bit more work, but it's ultimately
How
worth
do we
it.
get off on that? Oh, but yeah, no, he keep dropping big money on himself.
Right. And that's the thing. It's on yourself. Mexican OT is not paying Paul Wall like, I don't know, what do you think, 50,000 for 20,000? What do you think that costs? Something like that.
He's something like that.
Somewhere in that
Um,
range. He's spending $20,000 on himself, right? Because that's for his record and that's for his star to rise. That's to get more listeners to his album. It pays Paul Wall. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that's like a capitalism key right there. Is that ideally not in the fucking stocks and the healthcare and all this kind of stuff, but ideally it's people who are providing others with a payday, a good payday, but it's in service of their own enrichment. It's
Rising tides,
mutual
rising
flourishing,
tides. But this
mutual
wish,
flourishing.
yeah, it's the knowledge that it takes money to make those tides rise.
Mm-hmm.
Like this wishing that, well, bro, you understand what this would do for the culture?
Right.
But for me, if you would just give me a break, bro. It's like
Yeah.
you have to pay.
You have to pay. And
You
it's
know
not
how
going
many
away.
people, I'm at the fucking bottom, and you know how many people want so bad. They're like, but bro, you know how cool this would be? Like, yeah, it'd be cool if you pay me for it.
Yeah.
Like, I got kids to feed. I ain't doing nothing for free for a single day.
Mm-mm. And I think that there's an element of human nature where the best you're going to get out of a society is where people are mutually flourishing together. I think that the best of society is definitely not payday loan companies or insane interest rates on credit cards. That's not a great
I
society.
think the anti-capitalists are, what they hate is monopoly.
Yeah.
And I don't fuck with that either. I don't fuck with the people whose only ideas are always how to hoard and how to barricade,
Hoarding. Yeah.
how to get to the, like, this position and lock it, the pyramid capitalism where they're
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm up here because I'm also Eastern European. My
Yeah.
Czechoslovakian blood doesn't fuck with hierarchy.
No.
No, nobody's above me. I don't respect authority, and I don't crave it either.
What is
Don't
it about like so with my Polish shit and your Czech shit? What is it just because we've just gotten owned for centuries and centuries?
We've never had anything. We're just
Yeah,
gutter
we never had
trash.
anything. Gutter trash, yeah. I I do think also if you if you don't like that hoarding aspect where people have, you know, exploited others to enrich themselves and they've, gotten really wealthy doing it, what I do think you should do is kill those people because I think nothing would balance shit out more than murdering a few of the people who do that shit. They would learn that it's too dangerous to do it. Right now, there's no downside to what they're doing because none of them ever get killed. They're like, wait, I can just like I can call old ladies on the like those scammers, right? The scammers who call old ladies and tell them to give them their social security number and then they fucking cash their check, find them and kill them. Or, the CEO of a fucking a tech company who lays off like IBM style, lays off 20,000 employees, but then they get a huge bonus at the end of the year. Go kill them, right?
Yeah, teach like, society needs to learn that that's not something you can do, that there's consequences to that.
If you aren't out there killing CEOs, then you're not about the life. You don't actually believe what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you're just a college kid who
Hmm.
and it's crazy how this show merged, like people thought, when are they getting to the freestyle? It's like, oh, we're just embodying the characters now.
Hmm.
You know, we're a couple of unhinged. This is our Ted Kaczynski group meeting. For
Right, right. Yeah, this is all fiction, of
this
course.
is all
Yeah, I would
fiction.
would never
This is
recommend you to. No, but for real, I mean, like that is the answer that nobody wants to talk about. For all the feds listening, I'm not going to be the one who does that. But realistically, you have to have checks and balances. That's all I'm saying. And these people, they have no checks and no balances on what they do. And so
I don't
the
want
answer isn't
government. I don't want government to be like
no. God,
Elon
no.
Musk is not allowed to do blah 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 because then will not
That's just a
affect
bigger gang.
that
That's
won't
just a bigger
affect
gang.
Elon Musk. It'll always trickle
No.
down to the person who just wants to like open up a pizza shop or something.
Right. But them having their head blown open by a 50 caliber rifle would actually have an effect.
Yeah. Then Bill Gates goes, "Whoa, why did that happen? I didn't send that. Who sent that? Oh, the people who are mad that we're doing this stuff."
Yeah. The
And then
student loan people to speak to I don't have student loans, but it's still an issue that's close to my heart. Like just the fact that you can't declare bankruptcy on student loans, I think is fucked up. Like you should be able to declare bankruptcy on anything. Bankruptcy just means that you're
it's
bankrupt.
such a con. College
It's
and
such a
the
con.
pharmaceutical shit is such a
It's it's such a con. But if like, well, I better stop. I made my point.
you can keep going. We're just
It's just it's
spitballing here.
just
This is
it's
just
it's this all it's this okay, so let's say we have a fictional world where a company
this is what we
decided
do.
that
We freestyle,
this is our freestyle.
we get
This
in the,
is our freestyle.
we embody the characters.
Sallie may catch these hands, right? So
Yeah.
like,
This is part of the juice is, you kind of sit, you
yeah,
embody
you
the
embody this
character.
this character. But
You
let's
do a
say
little bit of method acting to come up with your characters.
you're a person who really wanted to be a welder, but your parents convinced you that the only way you were going to make it in life is by going to college. You fought against it tooth and nail, but eventually
And
they
your
tempted
parents
you.
were retarded Gen Xers
Yeah,
who thought that just that was
right.
they're the gnomes from South Park. They're like, step one, go to college. Step two, step
Mm,
three, make a lot of money.
profit. Um, so you end up going, and your first semester, you don't do shit. You play online poker and fucking eat Taco Bell and work at a hookah bar. This is a fictional character. I have no idea who this person might be. And so you fail, you lose your grant, but your family keeps telling you, like, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. So this person in reality worked their way through school and didn't end up with debt. But let's say that you don't do that. Let's say you see a scholarship, or not a scholarship, but a grant, not a grant either, a loan, that's the word I'm looking for, flashed in front of you for $5,000 a semester. Whoa, $5,000? And I get room and board, and then I pay for my classes and
Where are you going?
the
The
rest.
worst college in the world? Doesn't
No,
college
5,000.
cost like a
No,
hundred
no, no, no.
thousand dollars?
No, 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 not in 2007.
Mm.
No, it was about 3,500 a semester um,
I
for
just never
OU.
even looked into it because I was like,
Yeah.
what's the
Some
difference?
colleges are some colleges are like that. Yeah, absolutely. You could spend 100K a year. Some people who I know did that, and oh boy, even their good jobs aren't getting them out of that shit. Anyway, you get out of school, all of a sudden you got to start paying all this shit back. That's cool. Let's say you took out $40,000 in loans. No big deal. But you didn't realize because you were an 18-year-old and your brain had not developed yet, you didn't realize what that compounding interest was going to look like over the year. You didn't realize that for the next 30 years of your life, you were going to pay back $350,000 on a $40,000 loan. And so you're stuck and you can't get out. And then you lose your job because you break your fucking foot because you're trying to suck your toes and you're not that flexible. And then and then you end up with huge medical debt. You can get rid of that. You can declare bankruptcy, but no, no, no. Government steps in and says you cannot declare bankruptcy on that student loan. There's nothing you can do about that. It's going to follow you till the day that you die. And if you do die, we might go after your family. Mm, well, you could make the payments, or you could stop making the payments, say, fuck it, allow that compound interest to compound. And you could take the money that you save instead and buy a Glock. And then you could put a switch on it. And, and then you could take that Glock with the switch and you can look up very public names and addresses, right? See, this is kind of a falling down style story. You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah,
Falling
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That
you
was
could
the
look up very,
prompt. We forgot to say it at the beginning.
that was
That
the
was
prompt.
the prompt we got from the Discord, uh, whose names shall not be disclosed because they pay us $5 a month to not expose their names.
It's one place where anonymity is respected.
Yep. Is in the
Um,
agitator Discord, patreon.com/agitator. You
and
can
then
give
you
us
just decide
prompts
to
for our next one.
you decide to take matters into your own hands because your life is over. Ah, but wait, there's one thing that these nefarious evil corporations do. They invent a technology. They invent a supercomputer. They've had it forever. They've had this since the 1950s, but they decide to unleash it on us now because they realize how bad everything's getting. And they realize that at any other point in human history, people would rebel in this way. But they've read Aldous Huxley. They know Brave New World. They know that you can keep a population just satiated enough with a fix of dopamine every 15 seconds to keep them from hurting enough to take action. So now you're stuck. You don't have a wife. You don't have a car. You got no kids. You got no prospects. But what you do have is a phone with TikTok, and you can watch people chop wood and fucking build huts and do dances. And sometimes you even see big titties on there. So is it really worth going on a kamikaze suicide mission to kill these people with your switched up clock? In this film, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Because this character, this hero, this fictional hero, is restoring balance.
He's the G that's what Jesus Christ would look like now.
Yeah. Jesus Christ would look like.
Because it would be I mean, the Jesus story, he's a martyr. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, martyr is just like a stone throw away from suicide.
This guy's not a
But
racist. He's not going to go shoot up a Walmart full of Mexicans. That's stupid. That's a waste of your potential. What? By the way, side note: why is it that people who go on these rampages? Well, we know. I was about to say, why do they shoot up WalMarts and Las Vegas fairgrounds? But we know. We know exactly why that is. Um, but you would think out of all of these rampage shooters that some of them would go after people who actually deserve it. And what our film would do would be to scratch that itch, to give the people what they want.
mhm. And so then it also is something that we could pitch to the CIA for funding because it would work as a sort of MK Ultra thing. Just give them the
Right.
dopamine of as if they did it.
Right,
Just
right, right.
and people are gonna be like, how did this movie get made? That's what all the 5-star reviews are gonna say. How did this movie get made? With
Do you
funding from
realize
the
what they're
CIA.
suggesting? Do you realize what they're suggesting? It's like, yeah,
It's like,
motherfucker, I work for the CIA.
yeah.
That's a good movie,
So,
man. That's a good fake movie.
Federal Bureau of Investigation. That's our pitch.
That's our
Hit us
pitch
up,
for a film that's not real and that nobody should actually try to do in real life. Um,
and that would be the point. If you give us
yeah,
money to make it, it would make
people won't
people.
actually do it.
They wouldn't do it.
It's you know, it's a release valve
Yeah,
for a
like
mass of
falling
people who are
down.
fed up. Exactly. How many people shot up McDonald's because their ice cream machine was broken after falling down? Probably a few.
A few,
There's probably a few.
but I don't think they
Uh,
saw falling down. They just the ice cream
mm-mm.
machine was broken. They had enough.
At that time, they were probably watching what Geraldo.
They're probably playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Um, Grand Theft Auto is a game that's always gotten away with it.
If Grand Theft Auto can exist, then we can
They've always gotten
spitball
away from
our
it.
totally made up movie idea.
Absolutely, we can. Yeah, we can totally like
That's how
what.
we see. This is what happens when you start with theme. If y'all are like, this movie sucks, we told you a few episodes ago, theme develops organically. We started with the
Yep.
theme, talk about communism, capitalism, and all this shit. And then this is what we
Mm-hmm.
came up with. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't like it, we're just proving our own point.
Mm-hmm. Grand Theft Auto did get heat when it first came out. I remember that very specifically because I would read all the gamer magazines like Electronic Gaming Monthly and PSN and so
Mm-hmm.
PSM, yeah. And
They
there
got
were
sued, didn't
lots of,
they?
yeah, they
Like,
did. There were a lot of think pieces and, is this okay that we're running over innocent people and shooting cops? And now the trailer for GTA 6 drops and cops are like, I can't fucking wait for that to come out. That
oh
shit's gonna
yeah.
slap so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Grand Theft Auto is fucking funded by the CIA.
Yo, you actually do Grand Theft Auto 5, you assassinate basically Elon Musk or Steve
Mm,
Jobs is pretty he's
mm,
like a Steve Jobs stand-in. You blow his head off.
right, right. Well, there you go. But that doesn't mean our movie can't exist.
Yeah, yeah. We were only subconsciously ripping off GTA 5.
I get so inspired when I play GTA and Red Dead, and then I want to do something like that in books. And then I realize very quickly that you can't. Not really, because books are different beasts. You can't do that quick, like mission type thing. In a book, there wouldn't be enough character coherence for it. The video game has the advantage because you can see the character and the character.
Mm.
It's the same as movies,
And
right?
you're
Like
controlling the
you're
character.
controlling it. It's instant connection to a character that you're actually controlling. But in a book, you have to.
There is that instant connection you can have with all the different senses you can fuck with. And the more I think books need to tell more than that whole show don't tell corrupted
It's bullshit.
years and years of literature.
Yeah,
You should
it's bullshit.
it's called storytelling.
Yeah, a story showing.
Tell a story. Just have a good voice and tell the story.
The best sellers, by the way, were always doing that. Always. It was the MFA type shit that was telling you show don't tell, show don't tell.
Because you want to get it. I mean, from a business perspective, they're like, you want to get it made into a movie.
Yeah,
It's like, well, I mean, just get a
but
good director to adapt it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Bro, you read Jurassic Park, which I did 6 times this year. It's all telling.
oh yeah, Crichton
It's
is
all telling.
he
Crichton's a
don't.
teller, dude.
Mm-hmm. He ain't trying to
He's a
show you
goat,
shit.
but he's a teller. Yeah,
Sphere is like, I mean, I could picture it in my head before watching the movie, and the movie the movie's not.
it's not good.
It's uh, I mean, I'd say it's worth watching as something to laugh at, but
Hmm.
um, no, the book. I mean, I was. picturing it all without him. He ain't describing shit. He don't give a fuck. He's like they're
No,
in a giant ass submarine and it's this long. I'm like, wow, that's big as shit. It's
dude,
like, yeah.
Jurassic Park, if I had been editing Jurassic Park, I would have been like, how many times are you going to compare these dinosaurs to chickens and talk about how they're bobbing and cocking their heads and chirping? My man, but that was what was so great about Crichton. He knew that. He knew that about himself.
James Salas does that a lot. Like
Mm.
you've read Drive, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How many times is he like hurt like a son of a bitch? Like
hmm
this book
hmm
is 100 pages long, and the phrase "hurt like a son of a bitch" is probably used 10 times.
Shout out to James Ellis, by the way, Broken River author.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
shouts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Nicest guy ever.
I love it.
Yeah. I hit him up. He didn't know who the fuck I was. I was like, "Can I have some writing from you for this thing?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then I said, "Okay, cool. How much do I owe you?" And he was like, "Meh, you're good. Just publish it."
Fuck
It's like
yeah.
fucking legend. Um, but what the fuck were we talking about? I forgot now.
I don't know. We wrapped up our freestyle,
I think that's it,
our
right?
our
That's it for the
pitch.
show.
Yeah, we talked about
Oh, hey,
Shot on
everybody.
iPhone or whatever that movie was called.
Everybody, I have a few seats left for the outlining class. I
Mm,
wrote a really good episode. I wrote a really good essay about the importance of outlining. Kelby and I talked about this a lot on our last episode about how important outlining is. Um, it's a fucking steal. It's $100. We're gonna meet up 4 times, $25 per session. I mean, you're gonna end up with a 2-page outline that's gonna help you get your book written. I do want to max out those seats though, just as a flex. So
yeah, so
if you're on
basically
the fence,
listen to another episode. This was a patron suggested exercise that we do that we try to trick people into thinking we're plotting um some kind of illegal activity and whole time we're just coming up with characters developed
hmm
out of a theme that we established at the beginning
hmm
to prove why you shouldn't do that. Listen to another episode and you basically that's the kind of sauce you're gonna get.
hmm
Uh
hmm
but
hmm
like direct interaction and 2 week how many four different
about
sessions.
yeah, 4 different sessions. It's going to be in about 10 days, not this weekend, but it starts next weekend. Um, but we're just about full. I think I got 3 seats left, so hit me up. Um, I am 100% committed to becoming a successful, wealthy, self-published author. And so far, I have a pretty good track record, Kickstarter notwithstanding, of doing exactly what I say I'm going to do. So this is the first step. I'm going to be hosting different workshops as I take you along and I tell you things that I don't talk about on this podcast that I figured out. Um, because, well, because I like doing it. I am a teacher at heart. I'm not going to be a teacher for much longer, but I am a teacher at heart and I enjoy doing it. That's why I ramble so much on this show. So go sign up, go figure out how to get your shit started. It's worked wonders for me. I'm about 15,000 words into my book, which would be, by the way, about half of a God's Fair No Better novel. And I'm still at the beginning of this motherfucker. So now I'm starting to wonder not how I'm going to fill the space, but how I'm going to cut at about 100K.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, because I'm reading a 250K book right now. I'm a little over halfway through. So like maybe 130, 140. And I'm gonna lie, it's feeling a little long. I'm kind of like, okay, can we wrap this shit up
I'm the
so I can
same with working on screen time feels a little bit like more of the narrative, I guess like Mercy, where I'm like,
uh-huh.
it'll stop somewhere. It'll be longer than Mercy, but um it's an encapsulated type of story. But
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
like the other joint that I'll hold off announcing publicly because it's got some big shit in development.
Hell yeah.
Um, it same. I'm like just in outlining phase. I'm like, where how this is gonna be a big fucking book.
It's
Goddamn.
big. It's big. Yeah. Those of you who've been taters from the start will know that Kelby and I started off the show being like, why the fuck would you write a book longer than 50,000 words? That's stupid. And and then we learn, and then we adopt that Shoshen beginner's mind type shit. And then eventually we get to a point where we're like, so how do I wrap this up in 100,000? It's going to be multiple books for sure. Now I'm trying to figure out what the stopping point is where
Well,
I can
what's
turn that into a climax. You know what I mean? Because like each book has to end properly too. You can't just cut it off like Dune and then make Dune 2 and people show up to it. Like, no, you have to, it has to work on its own first. So yeah, that's where we're at now.
yeah. And what happened for me at least was I learned how to write a book,
Yep.
not just you get that movie mind out
Movie mind. Yeah.
because
Movie mind and
yeah,
flex mind too.
I mean a fucking inflex mind because I still believe 15,000 word novels that I wrote are novels.
Yeah.
And I mean show me a 21st century novel that has more than what I wrote and much less and wrote it better. So, but that's the thing is there's so much fluff in modern novels because they have that movie brain, but they also want to be 300 pages long. It's like, bro, a script is like 70, 100 pages.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this is way too much fluff. This is boring.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, the trick is learn to write a book.
Yeah. Learn how to write plot, and then you won't. You'll be in that situation. If you've ever looked at a book, Michael Crichton or Brandon Sanderson, and you're wondering how the fuck do they write books that big? It's because it has to be that big. There's literally no way that Jurassic Park can be less than 400 pages. It has to be that big. Has to be. There's nothing you can take out of it. So, yeah, just get good at plot. And that is what we're going to do together. Go sign up. Hit me up. DM me. I don't have a landing page because
At
I'm
BRBJDO on Instagram.
Instagram. That's the best way to do it. Shoot me a message on Instagram. I'll get you on my spreadsheet and we'll make it happen. I added another seat, by the way. It was supposed to cap at 10, but I want to do 11
Lucky number 11.
just because.
All right. That's it.
Yep. Peace.